have a different type of experience and lens, but that's only valuable if I speak up and challenge. And I think that's one of the things that is really important is, you need people to, particularly as this industry evolves and you go to like startup and smaller companies, you got to leverage that experience and really speak up. And you really need to know, and particularly in today's environment, it's competitive and it's evolved and it's different. So you got to have a diversity of experience and diversity of ideas and thoughts, and you have to be open to that.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for the Virtual Investor On Demand Summer Spotlight What's Your Story series. My name is Janine Thomas. I am CEO of JTCIR, and today we are featuring newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of Outlook Therapeutics, Bob Jahr. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Janine. Thanks for having me here. Good to see you.
So happy to have you. I think the timing for this discussion is perfect with your recent appointment as CEO. Before I turn it over to Bob, though, I'd like to remind you that Outlook Therapeutics trades on NASDAQ under the ticker OTLK. And Bob will be making forward-looking statements, and I encourage everyone to view the company's website at outlooktherapeutics.com, as well as the SEC's website for their latest filings and information. All right, Bob, I've been looking forward to diving right in here. So over to you. We want to hear your story. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to the new CEO of Outlook Therapeutics.
Awesome. Thank you. So I've been in the industry for a little over 20 years and a very traditional background, started in sales. I'm from Montana originally, so started up in the Northwest. And then I really got excited when the biologic era hit. And that's what took me to Amgen at that time, as we really dove into the new era and what we could do in oncology and immunology. And from there, I moved into many different roles. I had the opportunity to launch great products, work with phenomenal teams, worked with sales, worked with marketing, worked with global. And then a pivot point was when I really got into market access and started really understanding, just from a broader perspective, how do our stakeholders and payers really think about the value that this industry can bring to patients. And through that entire journey, the connective thread was it was always the patients that really are in need for innovative and breakthrough medicines. They need help in navigating the maze of healthcare and options here. And through that, I also, on my journey, was able to get exposed to running international markets when I was at UCB and looking at other markets like Japan, Europe, ex-Europe, China, Latin America, in understanding how, in a global world, how does everybody assess the value of what we bring? And then most recently, just building and getting ready to build great teams that really are commercialized and really focused on a singular vision, which is patient centricity, and really making sure we can untap the promise of the biologics and other new technologies in this era, really for the benefit of the patients.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. So, we talked about your being newly appointed as CEO of Outlook Therapeutics. What attracted you to this position?
The retina space is incredibly busy, and it's competitive and it's innovative. And I think what's also really important is we do have an aging population globally. And I think it's so important when you think about vision and eye care and the importance of having great quality and products that are approved and vetted through the FDA, but also have the great indications that can help deliver on that promise in terms of improving the outcomes for patients. And when I looked at Outlook and I really thought about what they could do in terms of bringing something into the market and making sure that there was great supply, quality, predictive, great outcomes for patients in a space that is so critically important for people suffering with wet AMD. And Outlook, with their approval in Europe, with the EMA and also with the UK, really demonstrated that they've hit that bar in terms of proving safety, efficacy, and supply. And I thought that's really important right now, particularly as we think about the challenges that we faced here in the US and other countries in years going forward.
Excellent. Okay, so taking just a little bit of a step back, as you think about your career, was there a definitive moment that shaped your career, your focus, or your passion?
Yeah, going back to what I mentioned earlier, it was really I was a sales rep in a pharmaceutical company, and it was really talking to doctors, and they were expressing the excitement over biologics. And I mean, this is obviously over 20 years ago, but really like what the breakthrough was when you start thinking about monoclonal antibodies and proteins, and just this is before we had gene therapy and CAR T and cell therapy. But that big leap forward in terms of what it could mean for treating diseases and illnesses that previously were not, really able to make a big impact. And we got into new terms such as disease modification, overall survival, and the bar changed so much. And I remember being incredibly excited and motivated about that, and also incredibly impressed and humbled by the science that took us there, and wanting to be part of that journey in terms of every organization and role that I had moving forward is like, how does that connect to that? Because that did really inspire me, and I thought it was such a great leap, and it's been amazing over the years, like how that has continued.
So, since you just recently joined, what are the top three things that you have done since joining as newly appointed CEO of Outlook Therapeutics?
I think the most important thing is getting to know the team, meeting the team, and understanding what great people we have here, and their commitment to the mission and the resilience and navigating the journey and path to approval. So, number one, really getting to know the global team, the European team, the cross functional colleagues. Second, understanding what their needs are, understanding where we are right now in our journey. What is it the most, obviously potential PDUFA day? What are the most immediate needs? And how do we untap the value and make sure that we can deliver on the promise? And then I think the third one is just really setting back and getting to know the stakeholders, really getting close to the patient, getting close to the customers, getting close to all the people that are involved in the end-to-end supply chain, and bringing this potential asset and treatment to patients and to offices. So it's really about the team understanding their needs, but more importantly, getting as close to the customer as I could the last couple of days.
Excellent. So you talked about getting to know the team, getting to know the stakeholders. Now we want to get to know you just a little bit more. So can you tell us one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
I think one of the things I do when I like to relax, I really love to cook. I like very complex recipes, and learning how to cook different cuisines and food from different cultures. That is something that I find very challenging and relaxing. When I want to spend my time on the weekends and decompress, and I just love learning about great different meals and how cultures cook them, and the different ingredients, and the complexity that makes it enriched. And that's something I really enjoy doing on my time off.
That's great, Bob. Thank you so much for sharing. So, before we close, as you reflect on your journey to this point, how do you think your story and leadership's positions Outlook Therapeutics to create stakeholder value?
I think the most important thing is really understanding that, there's so many different ways that we can bring value, right? There's ways that you can contribute value in terms of thinking, thoughts, ideas. One of the things on my journey here, and wanting to untap the value, is that I have a different type of experience and lens, but that's only valuable if I speak up and challenge. And I think that's one of the things that is really important is, you need people to, particularly as this industry evolves and you go to like startup and smaller companies, you got to leverage that experience and really speak up. And you really need to know, and particularly in today's environment, it's competitive and it's evolved and it's different. So you got to have a diversity of experience and diversity of ideas and thoughts, and you have to be open to that. And I think that's what I've really appreciated and welcomed here, is that although you can be a single product with going with one indication, it takes a lot of different experiences from people to untap the value of what we can deliver. And also, I really believe that innovation is the master necessity. And I think those are ways that when you bring that together, you unlock potential value that's not even represented in any previous slide or spreadsheet that you can see, just because it's the value of the talent and the experience of the people that you bring, and how well you deliver on your promise for stakeholders and shareholders to deliver that to the patients.
Excellent, Bob. Well, Outlook Therapeutics is definitely lucky to have you at the helm and leading this company. Certainly an exciting time ahead for Outlook Therapeutics. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'd like to thank our listeners for tuning in. And if you're interested in what you heard today, I encourage you to visit Outlook Therapeutics website at outlooktherapeutics.com for more information. And on their website, you can sign up to receive their alerts, as well as follow their social channels to stay current on the latest information. And if you'd like to hear more of the Summer Spotlight What's Your Story webcast, we encourage you to visit our website at virtualinvestorco.com. Bob, thanks again. Can't wait to have you back on. And I'd like to wish everyone a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Janine.